I'm going to show how to get set up on a new cluster account. So to start with, I'm going to open a terminal, and I'll be trying to do things from like a level of zero knowledge, but probably I'll make some assumptions that I shouldn't be making at some point. So the first thing I'm going to do actually is just going to open a new tab, and I can never remember the exact destination name for different files for different destinations. So I'm going to just take a look at my Bashrc, which is where I've stored this alias, which I guess I'll start with that even. So I'm going to move .bashrc to old bashrc. So to explain things a little bit more, I'm currently in my home directory on my personal laptop, well, personal work laptop. And so I have a desktop folder, or in Unix speak, we call folders directories. So we have desktop, documents, downloads, etc. All this blue stuff are directories. And then I have a couple of files in here. I have readme, foo.txt, and now I have that old _bashrc. If I type in ls, which I think ls means list or something like that, but if you don't know what a command does, you can use this man, which stands for manual command. And so ls, its name, its short name is ls, and I guess its longer name is list directory contents. And so there's a lot of information here, and in general with the when you do man whatever command, but we won't deep dive into it. One thing that's useful is ls-a shows you all the hidden files. And so unfortunately I have a lot of hidden files at this point. If you have a brand new laptop or device, you'll have far fewer. And so you can see now that there's no bashrc. There is a bash history, but I'm going to write a brand new bashrc. And I mean, I'm mostly going to cheat based on using the old bashrc. And so I have a couple of things that I'm not going to use right now. This is a pretty new laptop, so I did all this stuff pretty recently. Maybe I'll do another video where I really start from absolute zero. But for now, we're just going to do the minimal needed to get hooked up to a remote machine and start doing science on a remote machine. So this alias command is pretty handy. And so I'm going to type it out. So alias lets you type in a command shell. So if I want to say, like, if I want to say echo hello. So in a language like Python, in Python there are print statements. So if I do Python print hello world, this is just issuing some output string usually to standard output or to the terminal. And so similarly for the echo command in bash or in shell, probably more generally, echo is like the print statement. So I can do hello world or really anything within these quotation marks. All right, so I can have the echo command, and maybe I want to type echo hello world every time I'm doing a tutorial. If I wanted to be a little bit lazier, I could do echo alias hello w and set the results of that command. I actually have to check my syntax now. So yeah, you want a single quote. Maybe it could be double quotes, I'm not sure. But the single quote is nice since I want to have the double quotes for the hello world part. All right, so I've defined an alias hello w. And now if I type hello w, then it what it does is it executes that command echo hello world. So a similar thing in my bashrc that I'm constructing, I'm making an alias for this ssh command. And so that just saves me from typing ssh-y, etc., every time that I want to log into my remote machine. And so if I save this, then actually initially it's not going to work. Or in that case it did actually, because I still had my old bashrc. So let's just remove that for a moment, remove .bashrc, and if I do bash, I'm in a new terminal now. And unfortunately for new Macs, they really like Z shell, which I guess is fine. Maybe it's more modern, but I'm just so used to bash. So now if I do ssh mpa, then it says command not found. If I type in .bashrc, that's of course because I didn't have any bashrc. Now if I do alias ssh mpa equal to ssh-y, so the -y says to port graphics using X11 forwarding. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later at mpa-guardchain.mpg.de. Okay, I think that's right. Looks right. It's a lot easier to just copy paste, honestly. But so now, so I wrote that in my bashrc. If I do ssh mpa, it still doesn't work because this .bashrc is only sourced when you open a new shell. So I can do bash, and now it executes whatever is in my .bashrc, and I must have had a typo. So if I go .bashrc, not sure exactly what the typo was, but I'm sure that I had a typo, so I'm just going to copy paste. Or maybe I'll try to stare at it. Yeah, I forgot the s login. All right, so at s login and then .mpa. So yeah, terminals are very particular about typos. There is no autocomplete for the most part. I guess this new Mac is getting a little bit smarter. All right, so again, if I just typed ssh mpa, then although I saved a file, the changed file hasn't been executed yet. So I can do bash again, and then ssh mpa, and then it logs in for me. Now for this machine in particular, it requires a two-factor authentication step as well as a password, but I've already done that in one of my other terminals. And I have port forwarding, or let me just find that real quick. So in my SSH config file, I have this set up where it keeps it alive and just kind of handles all this stuff for me, which is nice. Okay, so I'm logged into the remote machine. I'm going to move .bashrc to old bashrc as well, and move .vimrc to old vimrc. And so now this should be a pretty blank slate. Maybe it's not a fully blank slate. Let's take a look at ls-a. And yeah, I mean, I've been using this machine for a while, and so I've got a ton of stuff. There's also .bash profile, so there might be other things helping me out in the .bash profile. No, it basically just, well, maybe it does this stuff. I don't know what's in there. I'm not going to worry about it. But the main thing it does is source .bashrc. Okay. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is kind of show how to get this prompt here, which is pretty handy in case you don't have it. So for example, and the other thing, probably the first thing actually, is you notice in my local machine, I have this nice blue like syntax highlighting for directories. Helps me notice what's a directory and what's a regular file. And over here, I don't have that right now. And that's because I need to put that in my .bashrc. And so in this bashrc, I actually also don't have it. That's interesting. Yeah, I guess Mac is a little bit nicer. But so if I go back here, now I don't have any info about like where I'm at. So this is also a good sort of starting point, better starting point. All right, so in old bashrc, first load some system defaults. Those sound important. So those probably included actually in the like default bashrc. So we're definitely going to keep that. And so probably if you're on this new system, like if you have a new account set up for you, you do have some of these system defaults. And then set prompt host pwd. So this is nice. So pwd is your present working directory, I believe. Working directory name. Yeah, maybe it's present working directory. I'm not sure. And so that's very nice to have. So we're going to add that. And right now Vim is not as nice because I removed the vimrc. So we'll add that back in shortly. And then warn user 30 days before password. All right, so this is again probably just a default that I definitely want to keep. Move this one over. Module system. So again, this is some system defaults. And then I know that I added some of this in myself. So this is using some modules, which we'll talk about later. And then the ls colors, color auto is definitely something that I want and what we were just kind of talking about. So this is saying whenever the so we're aliasing ls. So whenever someone types the ls command, automatically include the option -- color auto. And the rest of this stuff, so PS1, definitely want to include as well. But we'll just start with that. And so if I save this, and I guess I'll just do actually like if I log in again. Oh, interesting. Well, now I have to enter in my 2FA, which you all can't see because it's hyper secure. Okay, and so now I still don't know where I am, but if I type in ls, now it's very colorful, so that's a lot nicer. And so now the next thing I'm going to do is add in this PS1 and a bunch of gibberish. But this will point out where you are and have a couple of other good things. All right, and so I'm just going to exit from here, going to reconnect. Right, I used to have my different SSH commands in different files that I would execute, but now I do everything as aliases because it makes the home directory a little bit cleaner. So entering the password in again. I think I had a typo there. Yeah, shoot. I have to wait a few seconds to get the new passcode. Okay. All right, and so now this looks a lot nicer. It tells me like my what user I'm logged in as. It tells me the host name of the machine. And it's srv-14. If I go into like my documents, remind myself what folders I have. If I go into that YT folder, you can see it has this colon and then YT. Oh yeah, I don't have that alias set up right now. If I go into doc, then now it says that I'm in doc. So it doesn't tell the complete path, which some people like, but I find that it gets really long. You can always figure out your full path just using pwd. And so now to go back to the like home space, you can just do cd. You can also do cd tilde or cd tilde/. They're all the same thing. Okay, so I think that that's enough for the first video. So we now have our bash prompt kind of up and running on the remote server and looking a little bit nicer. Again, we've SSH'd successfully, and then in the next video I'm going to show how to get set up with Vim and kind of explain some more options there. All right, see you soon.